Years in the making, Bitcoin breaking out 2%, less than 2% away from all-time high. We're going to dive into the short-term analysis as Bitcoin approaches all-time high. Look at this, everybody. And it's going right now as I start this video. I wonder if we're going to have the title of this video, Bitcoin breaks all-time high. So before we zoom in on the short-term price action, because I know many of you are watching it just like me, I want to really talk about a couple different things, especially zoomed out. Where we are in this move comparative to last cycle at this moment, because it's going to offer a ton of insight into the volatility that is in store for you and I as the parabolic bull cycle begins. So hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. Let's just talk about it. First things first, Bitcoin surges, and this plays into the volatility story. Bitcoin surges above 71,000 as a wild crypto market pump sees 175 million in shorts liquidated. Check this out. $2.1 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at $74,000. Let's liquidate them all. And if you actually keep that in mind when we're looking at the daily chart. He's talking about 74,000. Right now, Bitcoin's at 72,500. So we could get a very nice move to the upside out of this area. So I know all-time high is like right here at this green area. It's like 73,750. But we could get the more probably important move on the macro, which is up here, and this is in the area of like $76,000 to $77,000. But before we even get that far, let's talk about a couple things. I saw this post from Sheldon over here on X earlier today. He said, "As bullish as I am, can you imagine if this played out? The bears would rejoice only for us to completely destroy them in Q1 2025. This, I think, helps rein in the excitement a little bit. It helps us just cool the jets as Bitcoin kind of makes a move. Notice the price of Bitcoin when he posted that, 71,200. But I think he's doing a very smart thing, which is what I do all the time. Just relax, even in uptrends. And I am telling you, if we enter this parabolic bull cycle, altcoins exploding, we're breaking all-time highs, you're seeing your portfolio, you're seeing your gains go up. Chilling out, taking a deep breath, not getting emotional and overly excited is key in terms of coming up with a plan in that type of environment. You don't want to get wrapped up in the emotion of parabolic bull runs, everybody. You just don't. And that's coming from experience from previous cycles for me. So it's good to anticipate downside. It's good to anticipate volatility. And this is partly why I posted this yesterday. Every bullish signal, and then we're going to look at the charts. Every bullish signal is aligning on-chain metrics, charts, news. It's all setting up. But in classic crypto form, the only thing that makes most sense is for Bitcoin to not break out and to nosedive one more time before the real parabolic move. Classic BTC move. So let's talk about this now. And we're going to look back here. This is 2020 move, almost exactly where Bitcoin is on this daily chart. And you see this purple line. This purple line on my chart is basically historically altcoin season beginning. Here's Bitcoin halving in yellow. This is zoomed in on the daily chart last cycle. So here's that purple line. Here's Bitcoin halving in yellow. We are right there. And this was the beginning of the parabolic move for Bitcoin. But let's dig into this data a little bit. If we look at Bitcoin right now on the daily, what do you notice? The first thing I notice, besides, it's a really nice candle, we broke this trend line, is the overextension from the 20-day moving average, the 50 moving average, the 200-day moving average. And we bring in some historical data for some context, right? Bitcoin last cycle, you can look at this green candle right here, for instance. I should actually go back and see if I did a video right here, this green candle, breaking out of a really key trend line. Everybody's probably very excited. And then boom, a couple red days right after, right? We threw back to that trend line area. That dip doesn't look huge, but from swing high to swing low, that's a 10% dip. We go from euphoric, breaking out, really nice green candle, to 10% dip. Imagine, and we're going to talk about the breakout to the upside, but imagine everybody's hype right now, boom, 10% dip. Do you know what a 10% dip looks like on this chart? Just to give you an idea from where we are right now, 10% dip, we're falling back to this key upper trend line. We're testing that at around 7 to 8%. 10%, we're falling back into the moving average area, which is why I mentioned overextension from these areas just good to start monitoring. I'm not saying we're there yet in terms of we need this dip now, but good to start monitoring a dip like that. Go back to the last cycle. Bitcoin bounced, right? So the bulls are just too much in charge at this time last cycle. They keep going higher and then boom. Big volatility on these charts, everybody. So as we are analyzing, look at this 17% move to the downside before going higher, and then another big move to the downside right here. So as we're analyzing the breakout that's happening right now, I want to keep this in mind. I'm going to do this through the entire bull market for all of these crypto charts. But now let's start talking about it. We're like 1.5% away from all-time high. And what I mentioned was all-time high will be nice. But I think more critically, it's this area up here. Not to mention all-time high now is we're not breaking last cycle's all-time high. We're breaking an all-time high that's not that far away, right? This was basically just over a year ago. So it's not like traditionally in these cycles where we're breaking this all-time high. We're actually breaking the all-time high that happened in a very odd fashion this time. The first time ever, all-time high before the Bitcoin halving. That's what we're testing. But I think more specifically, the key data lies on the weekly charts. So look at this, and maybe a bigger headline might be this weekly candle, by the way. The highest weekly candle close. We're 5 days, 8 hours away. But this could be the highest weekly candle close in Bitcoin history happening right now. And that might come with an all-time high right within it. So this is a historic weekly candle in formation right now. And again, as I'm doing this video, we don't know how it's going to close, but we'll monitor that. But check this out right now. Look at what is happening. Zoom out. Look at what is happening on this chart, putting aside all of the bullish data. That neckline area we're going to get to out of this massive pattern, like a 3-year pattern going all the way back here to 2021. But look at this. Look at where this stock RSI is on Bitcoin right now. At this moment of the cycle, I remind you, here's altcoin season historically. Here's altcoin season. So we're comparing it to all back here. Stock RSI, just about entering overbought. What was Bitcoin doing on the stock RSI at this moment last cycle? Same exact thing. And then we look at the MACD, getting a MACD line, the blue line, crossing above the signal line. We're getting upward momentum on the histogram. What was happening last cycle at this moment? Same exact thing. The MACD line just making its way above the red signal line, and we're getting that green histogram just starting to go green, separating from zero. This was the beginning of the macro parabolic bull cycle, and all these indicators are lining up exactly the same. I would actually even argue it looks a little better because look where the RSI is, the slower moving momentum oscillator. We really want to get a sense of how much upside we have on this cycle. Look at this. This is where Bitcoin topped out last swing high, all-time high. Here's where Bitcoin topped out on the RSI last cycle. That doesn't mean that's where all-time high was. You can see it started falling and Bitcoin went into all-time high. But to give you a sense of how overbought Bitcoin gets in these bull cycles, look at this. All the way up here in the 80, 90 region. Bitcoin right now is around 60, just around 60. And at this moment last cycle, when Bitcoin was kind of all in this area, breaking up, we have a similar stock RSI. We have the similar MACD. Look where the RSI was. It was already overbought. So that's one momentum oscillator that's signaling, you know what? Things might be getting a little bit even crazier for Bitcoin. We might even have a little bit of more upside for a little bit more time on these Bitcoin weekly charts. But again, I digress from that and I say, be prepared for daily chart volatility, throwbacks to moving averages. Now, in regards to this area up here, all-time high, yes, very close. It would be really fun to put in the title of the video that Bitcoin breaks all-time high. But again, I think more importantly, it's this neckline. This is the inverse head and shoulders that we have that's going back years. It's the cycle setup. This comes with a larger target to the upside right in our range of target 2 and target 1. We're looking at like $130,000 up to around $300,000, somewhere in there for a bull market high for Bitcoin. I know that's a broad range, but it is what it is. Nobody's going to guess the exact number. This is a really nice area for me to start monitoring what altcoins are doing and start really thinking about how much time is left in the bull cycle. But this breakout of this right shoulder is way larger than what we've really been tracking for over half a year. And that's this falling broadening wedge that Bitcoin is. If we look at the chart, Bitcoin has recently broken out of. I know we've been in this consolidation for quite some time. We're waiting for the breakout, and it's a very big, important breakout because this plays into the inverse head and shoulders breakout. But clearly on the weekly, what we should be watching from a macro perspective is the inverse head and shoulders on this chart. And to give you an idea, again, that's around $76,000 to $77,000. That's that next area of macro resistance. Can Bitcoin break through the inverse head and shoulders? Because I think that is when the real fun is going to begin. So going to continue tracking these markets as Bitcoin just doing its thing right now on the daily. Let's see if it can break all-time high or at least test all-time high. It is so close. I'd be so surprised if it doesn't at least make a push. And then maybe we get rejection. We have a really kind of ugly daily candle. Maybe we get a massive, amazing looking, bullish green candle exploding through all-time high and the neckline. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. Years in the making, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you cruising through. Hit the subscribe and like. Things are just getting exciting right now. We wait years. We've waited 3 years for this moment. So make sure you turn notifications on. A lot of updates going to be coming out. We'll probably do another video later today. And I appreciate all of you watching. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.